The plurinational state of Bolivia is a landlocked nation in western South America. Like just about every other nation in South America except Brazil, Bolivia was colonized by the Spanish back in the Age of Exploration, under which it was known as Upper Peru. Since its independence from Spain in 1825, Bolivia has lost much of its territories to its neighbors, from the famous loss of its coastline to Chile in 1883 to the loss of much of the Gran Chaco Desert to Little Paraguay in 1935. Today, we will delve deep into the rainforests of the Amazon to find out how poor Bolivia lost its hat to Brazil. Back in the Age of Exploration, the Treaty of Tordesillas signed in 1494 gave Portugal a sliver of South America, which provided a foothold for Portuguese expansion in the region. Over the years, Portuguese settlers gradually began to move west of the Tordesillas line. In 1750, the Treaty of Madrid repealed the Treaty of Tordesillas and ceded much of what was nominally Spanish lands to the Portuguese, establishing much of what is now the borders of modern-day Brazil. In 1864, Brazil went to war against Paraguay in the War of the Triple Alliance. The Bolivian government had been seeking to delineate its border with Brazil for some time, as both countries were still using lines drawn up by Spain and Portugal. Seeing an opportunity, the Bolivian government pressured the Brazilians to sign the Treaty of Ayacucho in 1867, which assigned Acre to Bolivia, while about 100,000 square kilometers of land were ceded in the northeast to Brazil, along with some territory along Bolivia's eastern border. Legend has it that the Bolivian president Mariano Melgarejo was so pleased upon being presented a magnificent white horse by a Brazilian minister that he pulled out a map of Bolivia, traced the horse's hoof, and gave the land traced on the map to Brazil. With the signing of the Treaty of Ayacucho, the northern boundary between Bolivia and Brazil had been marked, and both countries got on with their respective businesses. However, the remote nature of the region meant it was extremely difficult for Bolivia to enforce their claim, which would later come back to haunt them. In the late 18th century, increasing rubber prices caused about 18,000 Brazilian settlers to move into Acre. In 1899, Bolivia set up a customs office in Puerto Alonso, now known as Porto Acre, which caused conflict between the government and the Brazilian settlers. The Brazilian governor of Amazonas state organized a group of men to enter the region, who then proclaimed their first Republic of Acre. However, the central Brazilian government was less than pleased, as it considered the region to be Bolivian territory. A war flotilla was dispatched via river, reaching Puerto Alonso and dissolving the First Republic. In 1900, a second rebellion broke out, known as the Expedition of Poets. The governor of Amazonas once again helped the rebels by equipping them with a river monitor, and the Second Republic of Acre was declared. Around Christmas 1900, the rebels attacked Puerto Alonso, but were driven back by the Bolivian military. The Second Republic was then dissolved. In 1901, Bolivia signed a lease over Acre with a company called the Bolivian Syndicate, which Brazil disapproved of. In 1902, supported by the Brazilian military, a small group of Brazilian riflemen crossed the Acre River and occupied the city of Chapuri. Bolivian forces soon launched a counterattack and defeated the Brazilians. A larger force of 1,000 Brazilians then crossed the border and laid siege to Puerto Alonso, while attacks were also launched in other parts of Acre. On January 24, 1903, Puerto Alonso surrendered, and the Third Republic of Acre was proclaimed. Later in November of that year, the Treaty of Petropolis was signed, bringing the Acre War to a close. Acre was ceded to Brazil in exchange for some territory in Mato Grosso state and a payment of 2 million British pounds, worth over 300 million 2020 US dollars. While not nearly as well known as the loss of Bolivia's coastline, the cartographic decapitation of Bolivia is nonetheless an interesting bit of history. South American history isn't really too well known outside South America, especially modern South American history, which is honestly quite a shame. If you're interested, I recommend reading a bit more into this period of history, as it is quite fascinating. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please leave a like and subscribe if you did, for the algorithm. This was a video by GW Productions. See you next time.